Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. It is 6:30 PM. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call.
Absolutely. Mr. Colazzo,
Present.
Mr. Gunter,
Present.
Mr. Leacock,
Here.
Ms. Peliquin,
Here.
Ms. Moore,
Here.
Ms. Farco, Mr. Eckstein.
Here.
Oglesby is not present. And Ms. Coatsy.
Here.
Ms. McGill. Here. And Redsfield is not present. So we do have a forum.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did everyone receive a copy of the minutes and the email sent out?
Yes.
Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes?
Yep,
Yes.
my name is spelled wrong in pages 2.
Or we can have discussion, we have to have a motion. Anyone want to make a motion about approving the minutes?
I shall move that we approve the minutes.
Any second?
Second.
And discussion.
Okay, just on page 2 at the top and at the bottom, it's COE. Not A, although you pronounce it COA. COE. Thank you. I like it.
Any other discussion or edit submissions, changes? I want to thank whoever took the minutes from last meeting to consolidate them within 2 pages. That's impressive.
Yeah.
I guess, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None heard, motion carries. Enrique, a department update.
Good evening, everyone. Enrique Sanchez, Deputy Parks Director. So I think I've met most of you, but I think our biggest update is we have a new Deputy Director over Recreation, Carl's old position, and Amy Jean Baptiste. Amy comes to us from City of Sunrise. She's been Assistant Director there for 3.5 years.
Right.
And before that, has been at Delray and
Quite a few cities.
quite a few city moving up. She was listed 30 under 30 as a top, 30 parks professionals under 30 in our National Recreation Parks Association, a few years back. She's a go-getter. We're, specializing in the recreation side of things. So we're really excited to have her on board.
Thank you for that intro. Very exciting.
Terrific.
I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you, Enrique, and I look forward to working with you all. I'm excited to join the leadership team along with Carl and Enrique.
All right. Oh, terrific.
We're making some progress.
Yeah.
Is Carl gone?
No, he's just on vacation this week.
Oh.
Yeah. So he would have loved to introduce Amy, but he had a pre-planned trip during spring break. It's spring break. So
Sure.
I'm actually surprised such a big crowd. I've heard some of the other boards have had trouble getting quorums this week. So
Spring break, yeah.
No, we love
So I'll
that.
start with the department updates. So some upcoming events that we have, spring egg hunts. So originally we had 5 egg hunts scheduled this past weekend. However, due to inclement weather, we had to reschedule them. So we have a few, actually some starting today, leading up to Saturday. So today we have one at Riverland, and that's actually going on right now from 6 to 8 p.m. And then Carter Park is on Thursday, March 28th from 4 to 7 p.m. Bass Park is on Thursday as well, on March 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. For St. Park is Thursday, March 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. And then Mills Pond is on Saturday, March 30th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. hoping for good weather for those.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's gonna.
Some other upcoming events is Jazz Brunch, so that's happening Sunday, April 7th at Esplanade Park. That's happening from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then Bareness Musicales, which is a free Latin concert series on selected Fridays at Riverland Park, and that's happening on Friday, April 12th, from 7 to 10 p.m. And last is Carter Park Jams, which is a free concert series as well, and that's ramping up Friday, April 19th from 7 to 10 p.m. And that's the department.
All right.
No, the Parks Bond update is part of that, so I'll leave any of that to the presentation. And so if you guys want to go into that, correctly, or?
Usually we have a lot of questions.
Oh, sure.
answered Between now and. Any questions on the department update? Well, then. Now the bond.
All right, so. As you know, Parks Bond passed in 2019 and we're about 5 years in and things have moved a lot slower than we like, but we're starting to see some progress and we got shovels in the ground and we hope to see some more. So I'm going to give kind of a broad kind of overview of where we are, what's happening now, what's coming up next, and be at the end we'll be open to questions. So. All right, so our first signature park, Tunnel Top, that was complete. We're still technically in punch list as the contractor has a couple items that they need to finish, but they're doing it as they finish the tunnel project and they're waiting on FPL. Some lights, some electricity to some lights were cut as part of the project and they're working with FPL to get those restored, but it's essentially the park's open and it's available for the public to use.
Can I ask a real quick
Yeah.
question, but, I know there's the big conch, structure and then the one that's like.
Oh, the arts, yeah.
You know when those are gonna be installed?
I don't. I know it's upcoming. I know we've had several meetings on site with the installers and the artists to work through that. It's imminent in the next few months, but I couldn't tell you a date.
I have a question. What's the cost for this project?
It was all in of just under 11 million. It's 10 change.
So, but there was any change orders on this, or there was even the budget?
Yeah, so originally in the Parks Bond, we had set aside 5 million for it. Right after the bond passed, we had a revised cost from the contractor that it was gonna be more. And
That was,
so, yeah, so the cost increase, the Parks Bond had, I want to say about 12 to 14 million dollars in unallocated money. It wasn't set to a particular project and came before the board and they voted to allow to use this to keep this project moving because we were on a timeline with FDOT. They were doing work on the tunnel anyways, and we were kind of piggybacking on their project to extend the tunnel and then make all the other improvements on the surface all the way to the water.
there was, how about the time frame? Did they complete within the time, or there was any delay?
No, it should have been completed, I want to say last spring, and they finished.
So just.
About 8 months behind.
Yeah,
Is there any hope to change the name from Tunnel Top Park to Tunnel Top Pavilion or something different?
so I think
Promenade
Plaza,
or
I
something?
think Plaza,
Plaza?
yeah,
Yeah, 'cause-
Tunnel Top Plaza, because, yeah,
It's more, it's not a park
it's
really.
more like a gathering space in an urban setting, it's not.
That would be good.
Yeah, because people, it's, even though it looks nice and it's, it's a focal point for Las Olas on the top of the tunnel. There are a lot of folks out there who aren't really thrilled that that kind of money was spent on that.
Yeah.
It's stark.
Yes, it needs some dressing up and I think getting rid of the name park might help some of the
Stigma.
stigma.
So this isn't a bond project, but I just want to include it anyway, because it's a big project that we're working on in the department and it's moving along. This was an old CRA project that it was started under there, but when CRA funds were kind of reallocated towards the aquatic center, that it was funded through park impact fees. And this is an aerial photo taken back in February. The projected completion is going to be, early summer. So we're shooting for sometime in June, maybe early July. The only thing pending is you'll see on the kind of to the right of the screen, there's some FPL wires. Those are going to be undergrounded. We're just kind of pending FPL to do the work. All the conduits in place for them to run the new wire and put everything in place and then energize the plaza and remove the old infrastructure. But it's just that coordination. It was supposed to be done a couple weeks ago. Now it's going to be done Monday is the latest update. So we're still on track for an early summer completion. But so fingers crossed.
I have a question. So is that project fully funded by the impact fee from the CRA?
So the design was funded from the CRA and the construction was funded by park impact fees.
So what's the total cost for this project?
Don't have that off the top of my head. I want to say it's in the same ballpark at roughly $11 million.
This one's been going on as long as I've been on the board, even before that, even a
Yeah.
couple of years
Yeah.
before that, because of the CRA dollars.
The CRA dollars, they went through several designs. At one point, it was going to be a pirate ship.
Right.
At one point, city manager wanted to look at a giant Ferris wheel, and so we eventually settled on this with the ramp and inside the kind of bowl of the ramp, there'll be a playground using the elevation created for slides and other play features.
It's not really apparent in the picture, but it is really, because I see it every day when I come out of the aquatic center. The how tall that wall is.
Yeah.
And how tall the, observing or whatever you want to call it. I mean, it is tall.
Yeah.
It is.
It's cool.
Mm.
Huh?
This was supposed to be Alex's rooftop.
It'd be nice to see some.
Better believe it.
Oh, yeah,
I'll be
very tall.
Probably in the marina across the way, so.
It would be nice to see some art on the blank walls.
Yeah, so eventually, you see the retaining walls on the south side and those will all be landscaped. So that will be covered by landscaping. On the feature itself, I believe it's gonna be white and then there's gonna be like a pergola type architectural structure, that goes over it.
For shade.
Provides shade.
Yeah,
And
It's an Instagram area where you.
It's true.
I'm assuming there's gonna be, unfortunately, lots of artificial grass. Kind of like the
so
the loop.
So the middle is gonna be poured in place for the playground.
Okay,
So that'll be the safety surfacing for the playground.
okay.
And maybe some artificial grass as well. The rest will be hardscape and landscape.
They're gonna keep that road there, I think that goes through to.
Sixth Street there.
Fifth Street,
Just-
yeah, and when it's complete, it'll be two-way. So,
Oh, that would be good.
yeah, to the left of it, there is gonna be I don't know if it's condo or hotel but there is a development plan. for
That
that.
empty lot.
Yeah, that empty lot
That's
there.
private.
Yeah, that's privately owned. It was supposed to be happening kind of at the same time as this, but
Yeah.
they, I guess, ran into some delays themselves. So,
Construction.
and then this is kind of, we get into the meat. So we have for Parks Fund, we have 3 projects completed. The Tunnel Top, which I talked about. We have Virginia Schumann Young and Hector Park, and those were completed as part of the the restoration of Rio Vista, both those parks were ground zero for the sewage spills that happened a few years back. And so as they restored the area, they completed all the work that was in the bond for those. Then we have some partial completions. We've done playgrounds at Port and Coontie. We've done athletic field light upgrades at these parks at Holiday, Carter, Oswald, Mills, Croissant, Sunset, Florinata, George English, Bayview, and Hollywood.
The Astrid,
And Florence Hardy.
what are the asterisks?
So the Astrids are joint use parks.
Okay.
So those are parks that are
Schools.
that are owned by, the property is on school property.
The lighting completed?
Yeah, so there, the only thing that remains for lighting upgrades at Holiday is, we're gonna be lighting the volleyball courts. Yeah.
So
What about some of the smaller parks that have pickleball that aren't lit?
Uh-huh.
Like, was it Benison Park?
Yeah, so that's planned in the bond when we get to that, and then, so as we get to the end, we'll talk about some of the smaller parks and our plans for that. So, we got 4 parks in construction. We got Bayview Park, Fort Park, and Riverside, and then the Cooley's Landing Admin and Comfort Station. So Cooley's Landing we were able to, we had $1.4 million, I think, set aside for Cooley's Landing Marina improvements, and we were able to leverage that with fine grants and Broward voting improvement grants to get another $3 million in grants. So, but there's some improvements we need to make on the comfort station, the restrooms and showers that some of the boaters use. So we're moving forward with that now. But we're separating out, waiting for the grant paperwork to be done, and so we can start the design of this larger improvements to the marina to kind of renovate and that's one of those projects that we'll wind up bringing in more revenue as we make improvements to the marina, we can charge.
They add more slips or bigger slips?
No, just,
Newer dock?
newer docks. I think we're talking floating docks. We're also looking at improved electrical, so we can,
No, we had these spring tides that whole marina was underwater with the fixed docks.
yeah. Exactly. So, and
For Bayview Park, are you gonna do anything to like the Lake Bayview area, the ones that get flooded or underwater?
yeah, there's some drainage improvements being done to Bayview, because we know that's an issue there. Then we also in the works now, or kind of under construction, is some resurfacing projects. So as we went through, you saw we did some lighting upgrades and we're doing some resurfacing. And the reason is we have existing contracts or contracts we can piggyback off to use for some of these. So they're pretty straightforward items. We didn't feel we needed to pay a consultant to design something when we could just move forward with that. So the 5 resurfacing projects, you see it says 4 up there, but it's 5. Those are joint school parks, and some of them, part of the improvements require some resurfacing. And so we're in the process of doing that. At Stranahan, we are, they have 4 tennis courts, and we're converting 2 of them to 6 pickleball courts. And those are already lit by the school. And then so they'll have 2 tennis courts remaining. And at Dillard, they have 6 tennis courts, and we're trying to do the same thing with 2 pickleball courts there. We're just waiting on final approval, but the contractor's ready to go as soon as we get that okay. Then we have 18 projects in some form of design. Holiday Park is at 95% design. And we pulled back, we had it at 100% design. But there were some comments, we had have AECom revise some stuff. And then also, I don't want to steal Carl's thunder because he's worked really hard, but he's working with a group for a grant program to invest in the Jimmy Everett Tennis Center, add some capital dollars and some maintenance dollars ongoing. So, and it's a not insignificant amount. So we thought we need to convert one of the last park boards to play in order to meet their tournament guidelines. So that's in the works too. But looking forward to, the hope is to get that holiday park out to bid in the month of April.
I have a quick question while you're on Holiday Park. I know that you guys have had a lot going on with the construction there, the ice rink, which I believe is open now, correct?
Yeah.
My son asked me about the playground over there, and when we were talking about it, and he asked me, I did the math. I believe the old one was like decommissioned except for the swings.
Yeah.
Like 5 years ago.
Not 5 years ago, but yeah, it's probably been 2 years at least.
He wants to know when the park's coming back. Is
So-
there a deadline for that?
So,
I know you're not at 100% on design, but do you guys have any
So,
timeframe?
yeah, so the plan is to put this out to bid by April and to have at least the playground done early next year.
Okay.
So the entire construction won't be complete by that time, but we know the priority of the playground, so we're gonna.
Are they gonna just scrape the whole thing and
Yeah.
just build it from scratch? Okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Jimmy Everett there. Is that including the design entire holiday park, including the tennis center, or you
Yeah.
guys kind of separate? it?
No, it's all part of Holiday Park improvements.
So including the tennis center and the football fields and the
Yeah.
playgrounds.
Yeah, the
Pickleball.
playground, splash pad, Jimmy Everett Tennis Center, the walking trails, there's gonna be new restrooms, yeah, so.
And do you guys consider to increase any parking spaces over there?
So the original plan for the bond was to build a garage on the field that's closest to Parker Playhouse. And then that would open up the green space that's south of there in front of War Memorial to be a park space. So there's gonna be a trail through there. We don't have the funds in the bond to build the garage, but the funds we had wasn't gonna build anything more that we can just park on the grass. So we're working with Transportation and Mobility to see if there's parking fund dollars that can help build it, working with Parker Playhouse and the Panthers to get them to maybe pony up some money as well.
That's a great news. I think that's a very important because this park is very active. And right now with the Florida Panther Center, that didn't help.
Yeah.
And when the children are playing the game, the whole family is coming. Saturday evenings and Mondays and evenings, all the activities are happening there. So I see people are parking on the grass, they're blocking each other cars and all the kind of stuff to just with the parking space. So this is his travel.
Yeah.
And even the concerts, when you guys doing the July concert, like I see people parking like on the US one and walk, just to enjoy the live music. So
Yeah.
the parking is definitely.
We have 18 projects in design, so that's further along than conceptual design, correct?
So that includes the conceptual and the kind of hard design.
And so what's the timeframe from design to breaking ground and start?
So it depends on the scope. So again, with Holiday, we're looking to get that bid, shortly. Carter Park, we were at 60% design, and what we saw at that point was the funds weren't going to create the signature project that we wanted for the community. So we went back and, this board approved allowing to use land acquisition funds from District 3, to supplement that, some park impact fees. We have one last thing we're trying to go for. We're trying to go for a grant that if we use the site as a emergency shelter, we can get if we can get a significant amount of money, it'll make a difference. We'll continue on that. We're at that vetting stage. If not, we're gonna take the 24.9 that we have now and just maybe bring it back to 30% and say, okay, what can we do with this? Because the 15 million we had before, just, again, so that one might actually go backwards before it goes forward. Lockhart is at 60% design. These are our signature projects. That AECom's gonna be presenting to the city commission on April 2nd.
I mean, it's like 2 years from now.
So,
5 years?
No. So these are signature parts. As we get to like Oswald and Croissant, they're at 60% design, but to get to 100% for those smaller scope projects, even though it's a few $1,000,000, it will go much quicker. It'll be a matter of months and then go to bid. Same as we go, Sunrise Middle School, we're working with Point Siena Heights and the school. We have a plan that's being worked on. We should be getting 60% drawings in what are we at, 8 weeks from now? From our last meeting. It was 12 weeks from our last meeting, but it should be about 8 weeks from now. And then again, so Harbordale, we're waiting on, it wasn't included or is not currently included in our recreation license agreement with the school board. We're modifying that to add them, but it's kind of going back and forth. There's a draft. Yeah, there's a draft we're doing. Once they kind of accept some business decision changes we've had, then we'll kind of pass it on to our legal and school board legal to review. And
So after all that stuff the EAB and this board did to get the funding for it, it was disallowed because of
what, Harbordale?
yeah.
Well, and it's not disallowed. It's just, it was never in that agreement.
Yeah.
And
So there's like a legal change that they gotta make?
Yeah.
I know probably everybody's been on this board for a while, sick of hearing me say this, but Lena and Amy are new, just don't let them cement our walking paths. Because us old people don't do well walking on cement, it's hard on our joints, so, I mean, right now Holiday Park is mulch and pea gravel, perfect, just perfect, so. Just wanna say that, how many times have I said that, like every other meeting?
Yeah.
So,
All right.
okay, that's all.
Well, so I mean, a lot of that gets done for accessibility though. So, the mulch and the pea gravel isn't as accessible
I
as.
don't wanna hear that. I don't wanna be walking on those in a wheelchair because walking on cement wrecked my feet or something like that. Charlie knows, he's like me.
So I have a follow-up question. So you've set the budget for Holiday Park altogether, it's 24.9 million
Carter,
of Carter.
yeah.
Do you have a budget for Holiday Park?
For Holiday Park, it is 20.6.
20.6.
20.6.
You know what might be helpful? We all have like the original budget.
Yeah.
So when someone's new, like Marta is, for her to like have that.
Yeah, I can share that document we've shared with the board before that has the bond projects and the.
It's all on the website too, I mean.
Yeah, it's all on the website.
Is that the Jimmy Everts
Yeah.
Center, right?
Yeah.
So. Okay, and do you already have a director for the Jimmy Everts Center?
We're working on that. There'll be an agreement coming to the commission this month.
And I think it's important he'll be part of the design of the project.
Yeah.
Since that would be the new director for the center.
Yeah,
I hope that.
yeah, but we've been 5 years in the making, so,
No, I understand,
Yeah.
but, I trust that the director will provide some good input.
I don't know how accurate this is anymore. So like, yeah.
oh, that's how much we've actually spent, yeah. So we
Yeah,
can,
that's a good thing to have too.
See.
so, as we go through the scope of these, the last two on conceptual design, Floyd Hall and Beach Community Center. Those we're kind of starting with some blank slates, and those we're gonna be doing some visioning sessions with those specific neighborhoods towards end of April to kind of talk through those. So those are gonna be much longer than, once we get Rock Island Elementary School, once we open that up, it's just a playground replacement. And so that should hopefully go quickly. And then, so talking.
Can we get a copy of that or email to us, Leanna? The
presentation.
updates to the park, all that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, We can send it.
Yeah.
That's the one with the parking garage and all that stuff in there, but I don't think that's.
Yeah, so, and these things can be pulled from, our Parks Pond website, it's fplparksprojects.com. But, so these are site plans for Holiday and for Lockhart, as they currently stand. And then, so what's next imminent? So we got 5 projects, in the bidding stage. Warfield Park was already bid. And we had to do some negotiations to get it within budget because bids came back over. But that will be awarded in April. Hardy Park, that solicitation is closing Friday. We've had to extend it twice because of lack of participation in bidding.
Is that the one in Silver Bend?
No, Hardy Park is where our parks offices, South
Ninth
Ninth
Street and Andrews Avenue.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
By the train.
Yeah. And then Annie Beck, we're looking to release that solicitation in the next couple weeks. That's a pretty small scale project. And then we got 2 big ones coming up, which is Bass Park and Mills Pond Park. And we're trying to get Mills Pond released April. That's our goal. And Bass Park, we are working on a couple items. It might. And we're gonna try for April, but it'll probably be May before that one gets on the street. And then just kind of going back to the comment I made about getting vendors, the 3 of the projects we have under construction are being done by the same contractor, and Warfield is being awarded to the same contractor as well, Sagaris. They do a lot of work in the city, but they seem to be the only company consistently bidding on some of these items. We hope with Bass and Mills Pond, the scope's a little bit bigger, and that we will attract some other contractors, maybe the people who are doing DC Alexander, or people, other construction companies doing business around the city, and that'll foster some competition and some better pricing. But that's one of the challenges we're having. There's just not a lot of interest in.
So that's what I was gonna say. So the same contractor, is they giving you are they chopping some of this finance off or some of this?
no.
No,
No, not the finance off, but at least giving you something for something.
No, I mean, so- we were able to, they were the only bidder at Warfield Park, so we were able to negotiate down, some of the things to bring it in within budget instead of,
And what was the batch? I don't see it here. The Warfield?
it was 1.2 million. Yeah. And the price, but the pricing came in closer to 1.5, so. So yeah, so they did work with us. They did kind of come down on some fees and some stuff, but it's not, we,
Competition.
Yeah.
You can say,
That's what I'm
take it or leave it.
yeah, exactly. So again, as we get to the bigger projects, we're hoping, with Bass at, I think, 6 million and Mills at 6 million as well, we're hoping that'll foster more competition. And especially when we get the Holiday in Lockhart, that we'll get more bidders and it'll bring some pricing down.
Is that the same contractor who did the plaza,
No,
the tunnel top?
no, that was done by, Tunnel Top Plaza was done through a contractor solicited by FDOT as part of their overall tunnel project. And then future projects. So, there are about 65 other Parks Bond projects. Most of them are really small, in million or less range. And so we've batted around several ideas. One of the ones we originally were going to go forward was using some piggyback contracts to put in place playgrounds and some other things that we've done in the past, but due to some change in our procurement regulations, we haven't been able to use it. So we've reset and we're doing a solicitation that coming out this week to create a qualified vendor list so we can kind of quickly bid out some of these things and get a lot of these small projects done. It'll probably take another 4 or 5 months to get that in place and awarded by commission. But once it does, the goal is to have, just really start cranking out projects.
That would be the construction company, right?
And then, yeah, have qualified, but, smaller vendors who are now have been vetted and are qualified, and then we can just do simple bids and
Yeah.
quotes. It still needs to go out, but it'll move things along much quicker. Again, maybe some smaller companies will come in, there might be subs for our current contractors who might be ready for a next step. And so we're encouraging that. And then, again, if you go with that smaller, you eliminate some overhead and again, hope for better price.
April for the design. Have you considered doing like a competition for the architects and kind of have a?
We did, and so in 2020, we put out a solicitation for program manager, design, construction management, kind of overall program management of our bond program, and AECOM was a selected firm.
But I understand you guys did for the CCNA, but maybe I'm thinking that, let's say that students, architects, as a comparative, proposals. And, I see the city does that, but maybe that's even parks, they're doing, some ideas for what you guys did recently, the lifeguards, right? Looking for artists to change
call for artists,
the look of the lifeguard. So the ideas, and sometimes, it's a small reward. It doesn't have to be, fully done. Obviously, it has to be signed and sealed by the architect. Yeah, but for the ideas, I think that's a good avenue.
No, we haven't considered that. I'm not sure how that would work, but, if you have more information on that, love
Well,
to talk to you
that would
offline.
be for like a project that you have a space and you don't know what should be with that space, right? So what you're relying on the professionals, architects, firms, to tell you what to build, like the one on the beach. You said there was a couple of proposals, there was a vote before, but that's something like that, but through the architect students. So it doesn't really cost that much money, but the artists, they can bring the idea and envision the city this way, right? So kind of like what they did with the lifeguard station, to ask artists how we can convert and bring some pride. So instead of paying professionals fees, because the AECOM is expensive, I'm sure.
I think things like that are done by the Arts Council Board or whatever it's called. They're the ones that actually decided the artists for the lifeguard stands and a lot of the murals. They're the ones that award those.
But I think her idea of the architectural students is not a bad idea.
Yeah, but
because
I think that's where you want to bring that to them.
Yeah,
Not.
That's
the issue.
Well,
because,
it's nice to think right? But have a chunk of land, how to build a more modern park right now, because I'll be honest with you, for me, Plaza doesn't look like $11 million project.
Yeah.
I sit on this and I sit on a bunch of comments. It's not even nice to sit and I don't see any traffic stopping there. This is a beautiful weather.
Yeah.
So I'm quite disappointed with the final product. I think 11 million is a lot of money to put in that chunk. I understand there was money for the extension and maybe underground, what we don't see costs a lot.
Yeah.
But the small improvements to that place, that would benefit the look of the city.
and you're just talking about, like some design improvements, not necessarily the architectural, because the architectural will have to be, as Patricia pointed out,
I
applied.
envision this as maybe a waterfall going down, the trickling down, maybe have a real grass space, maybe some flowers, and it's a concrete and it's fake grass, doesn't even have a good light, I sit on it, on the,
Yeah.
I don't know if there was, the cracks supposed to be there, maybe the crack are the artistics over there, that does not look like $11 million project.
Mhm.
That's a lot of money. And you're talking about the budget of 20 million for entire holiday park. That's half of the budget of holiday park. When you have a tennis courts, pickleball courts, you have a volleyball, you have a Jimmy Everett with the bathrooms and everything. There's not even toilet over there, right? So I really don't know where the 11 million is.
It's a lot under support.
I engineered myself, so I envisioned that. So, however, those small improvements, they may not cost a lot, and I'm hearing that should be some artistic statues or something on the top. Maybe that would help. But it doesn't look good, even the trees don't look good over there. That were planted.
I'd like
So-
to just point out to Marta that they, when they came back and asked for funding, for additional funding to that park, this whole board, we met and it didn't go unnoticed that the final results did not really live up to the expectations. If you would have been at the presentation where they were asking for the more money, you might have been sold a bill of goods like I feel we have, but that presentation sounded like they were gonna make it like a park, and even, I think I even have some of the old.
Remember now, there were. it's
So,
not-
which is
it's
fine,
Not just the
but
north
it's
side, it's not just the north side.
No, I know,
It's
that's what I'm
also
saying.
the south side.
Yeah, it goes all the way to the water.
To the water.
Goes from the tunnel
Yeah.
top on the, going
And I
north,
have the old
all the
graphic
way
here
to
for
the
what they
river.
were showing.
I
all
heard
that
that
look at
because
the park.
and I heard that,
And
and
it-
I just,
when
and
they
I
were-
tell you, I was 2 weeks ago, we sitting on the bunch of concrete, and there was another resident with the wife sitting, and he's asking, do you know how much the stick costs? And I said, I know. I did not realize there was change order. I really thought it was 4 million, I believe it was first budget. We were laughing that this is 4 million, and I said, well, there's probably a lot of money underground will be sitting on. And this is what I honestly, sitting next to the stranger, had the same impression what I had. And I really don't like the final product, and I think there could be some money to put, or maybe keep the architects and the contractor accountable, because if that was a vision that we all had an impression, we need to keep them accountable and to put to those standards, because that doesn't look good as of right now. And I don't know what to tell.
Yeah.
It's really, I thought that would be a business card of the Las Olas, or the transition between the older parts of the town to the newer, more modern in the front of ICOM. I envision this as a business card of that street and our city. Instagram picture taken, I don't see people taking pictures there.
No, and the landscaping, I think we were expecting more, but I think everything else was built to.
But if we expected, we should not be paying a final bill and signing off on this. That was. Just whatever was proposed and we paid for as a city, that should be keeping accountable those
Yeah.
contractors and the vendors at the end. So I just, I'm looking forward that there would be better contractors maybe in the future, but we have to watch, because the frustration is not only for myself.
We could even more. on this
No, that's all I got.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Thank you.
But you deserve the applause, Enrique. Don't take this personal.
No, we feel your frustration, we have a small team, it's, a couple project managers who are working hard to get all these things moving all at once, and it's a lot of work, it's a lot of follow-up, it's a lot of, dotting i's and crossing t's and looking at details, so, but no, so I welcome it and, appreciate
There
it.
was wood for the seating, I guess, the benches. See the picture, looks like wood. Anyway,
Well, that's because I think changed since that original graphic.
Yeah, I think it's
Question, when the under tunnel top will be done, next to have the tunnel open.
Yeah. Both ways.
Yeah.
I'll take tunnel below, but
Yeah,
anyway.
right.
Okay.
Tricia, you're next up on the list.
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's get ready.
Yeah, let's go.
Get ready to rumble.
Put you on the clock.
Yeah, please.
This time it
Yeah.
was long.
I'm hoping this time, because I provided you all with some literature. Patricia Single Joseph, Assistant City Attorney. So hopefully we can streamline the questions, given that I gave you the literature and I tried to document where I was coming from with the proposed edits. So last time we were here, you all, and Carl was present, you all gave us some directives to amend the rule. There was an issue regarding the service animal, whether we can ask for certain documentation and so I went ahead and I reviewed both the ADA, actually, the ADA, the Florida statutes, our code, as well as the county code. So I sent you what I found, and I am proposing some additional edits just to make it, because the park rules and regulations, they cannot conflict with our code, the county code, or any other regulations. So just to make it consistent and compliant with those regulations, I'm proposing these edits.
Okay.
So it's up to you all whether you want to accept them, modify them, tweak them, but just to point out certain things. Yes, we can ask for the owner, the dog owner, whether it's service animal or not, to have the dogs vaccinated, and the county refers to registration of the animal, we say licensing. So the ADA indicates that we cannot target service animals, but we can ask for all animals to be vaccinated and licensed. So I tweaked it and tweaked that section, the beginning of 4.1. And then in the exceptions, I'm proposing that one, we include a definition section for service animals, and I made that consistent with the county code. And then in the control, which is section 2, where we indicated that each animal shall be leashed, I expanded that to be consistent with Florida statutes, which provides that it's not just leashing the animal. So certain disabilities, of course, the person is either in a wheelchair or doesn't have an arm, so if that person can control the animal by voice command, that's a type of control. So we can't just require a leash. We have to require that the person can control the animal. And then third, regarding inquiries for disabilities, so I made sure we're consistent with both the ADA and the statute. So basically, we can, a city worker can ask to determine the difference between a service animal and a pet. They can inquire whether the animal is a service animal because of a disability. And so, and then what type of work or task is that animal providing for that handler or that person? So we can ask that question. You just can't say, okay, tell me what your disability is. So, just to make it consistent, to make it, where we are compliant, that's why I'm proposing these changes. Again, at your will and directives, so it's up to you all if you want to adopt these proposed changes.
Well, it's consistent with the county and all the other codes, so I think that's a good thing.
I do have a question about the leash thing. I think that, as much as I think it's credible to a certain degree, but just to assume that people have control of their animal without a leash.
But a service animal.
Which is service animal.
Oh, this is.
Right, this is just for service animal. Of
Okay.
course, we have a leash requirement in the,
Yeah.
for any animals,
Maximum 6 feet.
but for when it So that's why I put that.
So they're allowed to
section.
be off the leash if they're a service animal and
They're under control.
And the
handler
handler can
Control
show
the animal.
control of the animal by voice command, and there is such a thing.
Oh,
There
really?
is, yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
because what if the person doesn't have any, they don't have any hands?
Yeah, sure.
So they can't hold the leash.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
if it's a service animal, typically that person can can control the animal through
Gotcha.
voice command.
And-
And that's acceptable.
We had someone tell one of our park, staff, that like, the dog was just running around, we're like, it's like, well, he's on a leash, but he wasn't controlling. The dog just had a leash dragging behind him.
Well, and that's.
And it was 6 feet or less, so we okay.
Just having the leash would slow down.
Yeah.
But I have seen disabled people control their
Yeah.
service
I have
animal.
too, yeah.
Yes, by command, sit, stand, whatever, so.
Yeah.
they-
A well-trained dog.
I think you did a good job by going back into the ADA and things
Yeah.
like that. It was
Thank
very
you.
present of you to do that.
Thank
That
you.
was
Thank
really
you.
good.
I wanted you all to see
Yeah.
where we were coming from. And I also wanted to streamline the questions.
Yeah,
No, I think it's excellent.
yeah.
Thank you.
Got the only 2 sections?
Well, I focus on service animals,
Mm.
obviously, and I tweak certain sections too. Let's see. 4.9, I think.
But just so you know, like what you wrote in that exceptions on 4, I showed this to my husband, who was a Southwest captain. He goes, oh, we had something exactly like that for service animals on airplanes. And he goes, it's very much just like that.
Right,
Oh,
So-
that's interesting.
right. I mean, you can't go wrong if you make it consistent with Florida statutes. and
Right,
RDA.
right.
So that's what I think, because the rules, they're there to be an extension of our code and the statute, not to be in conflict.
Right, exactly.
So if you all have any
That's good.
questions.
Yeah, 4.9, does that have to do with the umbrellas?
4.9.
Yeah, to be able to have an umbrella.
Okay, so 4.9, I didn't change anything. The only thing I thought, I changed the word approval to authorization, but this language was what you all proposed at the last meeting.
I would say
4.9,
if you have an umbrella attached to your chair and you're watching your kid's game, I'm sure that's fine. But
Well,
not,
no, but I don't know, the way it was read last time, I remember Charlie and I were both talking about how, the way it was read, it's like, couldn't even put up an umbrella. But we want to make sure that it's,
it was consistent. with-
I don't think they want you sticking an umbrella in the ground.
no, but like at a beach. We just said no.
So I don't think that's for the beach. This is for the.
This was the part.
But the park is a
park is
beach.
beach.
Technically, that's what
Right,
we're
the
getting to that now.
Oh,
Yeah,
They
the beach is
call the park,
considered a
yeah,
park.
they call the
Yeah.
beach a park.
oh,
Right, so.
That was our.
It actually says city beach, so
Right.
Yeah.
there's no
So-
question.
So no person shall erect a structure or accessory structure of any type. So, I mean, beach umbrellas are permitted. No, beach umbrellas are already permitted on beaches.
Yeah.
It's not inhibiting people from putting up umbrellas.
That was not the intent
No,
or
yeah,
nor the
no.
directives we got,
Something
but
like that.
Right.
That's-
I mean, if you all want to tweak it again, I'm open to
No.
suggestions,
No.
but the only word that I changed was by written authorization of the city commission instead of approval.
Which basically is they go before the city commission and, right,
Correct.
right.
yeah.
Correct.
Like all the bars are gonna end up on the beach, right? I think the hotel's putting up bar tents on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were doing that with city permit.
Yes, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. So,
Well, it sounds like if we're focusing on 4.9, we're good with 4.1.
yep,
Yeah, I mean,
Do we need to vote on them separately, or is it just all one? thing?
Well,
Let's make these changes.
the section that was extensively revised, that I extensively revised was 4.1.
Right.
The other ones is just tweak it and just. So
Well-
we would need to, yes, you all would need to, well,
Should-
Mr. Chair, you would need to entertain a motion.
But that's why I'm asking the
Right.
question, do we need to do it all as one
All the rules
cumulatively, or do I
as-
need to
as
have a
adjusted.
motion?
Well, let.
Well, let's-
4.1 and then a motion for 4.9.
Two motions.
Two motions, there we go.
Should we have a discussion on
Once we have a
the,
motion.
As we say.
okay.
They have a motion, they
I
have
make a
a,
motion to approve the changes as shown in this document
Second.
For section 4.1.
for all the changes.
Oh, yeah.
Start, beginning with 4.1.
All right. And a
I
second.
second.
All right, now discussion.
Anything?
Do we need Chelsea or Eckstein as the second?
It's her.
Okay.
Yes.
Charlie, do you have discussion on this?
No, I just
Oh,
wanted to make sure we,
Just take it.
I think we beat this one pretty hard.
I know.
Yeah,
So,
agreed. Do we have to do a roll or just all in favor?
We can do a roll call.
Roll vote?
Yes. Just to recap, the motion is to approve 4.1 as presented, correct?
correct.
Okay. As revised, actually. Yes. Okay. Plaza,
Approve.
Hunter,
Yes.
Myhoff,
approve.
Pelican,
Yes.
Moore. Yes. Parko. Eckstein.
Yay.
Coatsy, yes. McGill. And Martin. Yes. So unanimous.
All right.
Motion carries.
Julio,
All right. Now do we have a motion to approve section 4.9?
I make a motion to approve 4.9 as submitted in the changes submitted in the document that's presented to you.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm still not clear with, people erect, go to the beach and erect those, like, if there's a volleyball tournament, well, that would be a permitted thing, but, people just have those like little 10 by 10 tents sometimes. that
We're
they
talking about
set up.
shade tents.
And I don't think it's clear, like, what's,
Should we have something written in
Or
that
accessory
explicitly says, with the exception of a shade tent or shade umbrella, something like that? I don't know.
I repeated.
Well, beach umbrellas are not considered structures.
We're talking about the shade tents, so those those four-legged things.
Kids, they put up like, 10 by 10 tents to have a picnic.
Not a tent, but yeah, shade tent.
Yeah, I don't really
Yeah.
consider that a structure either.
Yeah, like the 10 by 10 was all open, but they put it over a picnic table and it's that shade can be. I don't think you can make that, should make that illegal.
Can we define a
that's
structure?
not a
Can we define structure in this? Yeah, but you know what they try to avoid is that they can put that same tent and
camp.
sleep overnight.
Yeah,
So you can't define the tent.
Well, just following your comment. Those sections are, if you read it entire 4.9, it's really related to personal property and storage.
Correct.
So
Okay.
we're talking about the story, which is including overnight, not necessarily storing the sun umbrella. So I think that's exclusive, not. Okay, because
Yeah.
I want to make a section like trash disposal, soliciting, interferes with authorized activities, loud noise, sleeping, intoxicants, and then you have 4.9 personal property. And if you read it full, personal property shall not be stored in any part of facility except in facilities where as specified authorized by the city for such a storage. No person shall erect any structure or accessory structure. So I think combined, it's related just to the storage and.
I read it the same way. Let's just refer to our lawyer and see what she
Yes,
said.
that is consistent with the directives we received last time.
Yes.
And that is our understanding, and that is the purpose of what this change was initiated for. Now, if you want us to include overnight storage, we can, but we don't, I don't think we wanted to make it that specific because
24 hours.
right, so then, when you think about overnight, then you're gonna have to consider, okay, when does nightfall begin?
Yeah.
When does, and so, sometimes, you,
I'm over there for
And-
4 hours a night.
Right.
And 7.4, digging holes or erecting tents and fencing is prohibited. Canopies of any type may be prohibited as well during special events or at the direction of police or ocean rescue. So I think it says canopies, so you can't have a tent for a camping spot, but you can have a canopy,
Mhm.
but those as well may be prohibited, like during spring break.
Right.
They're prohibited.
because there's a
During Tortuga,
safety
they're kind
issue
of-
as well, that
Yeah.
that the police need to consider. Sometimes are people hiding things in those canopies or shade tents, so. It's.
I'm no expert in that, so you're the expert, so.
No one's taking away the pop-up tents, the tailgate tents.
Okay.
Right,
But I think to Martha's point, the 4.9, it seems to be more about storage and personal.
correct,
Yes. Maybe together, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay.
because there's been a lot of,
To approve.
right, there's been a lot of.
We already have a motion in a second.
Should we move to a vote if there's no other discussion?
Question on motion to approve 4.9, it was.
Charlie.
Two.
Do we need a roll vote or is it all in favor?
I would prefer a roll vote since we have some discussion.
Okay, motion to approve 4.9 as amended.
Approve.
Okay. Palazzo,
Approve.
Plaza, yes.
Yes, correct.
Okay, Center, yes.
Yay.
Wykoff,
Yes.
Pelican.
Yes.
Moore. Marco. Exton,
Yes.
Coatsy,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Rexel.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Ready.
Imagine that.
Oh my gosh, that's. They deserve it.
4 meetings later, we finally got to it.
Just gonna clarify that for now, as written, these are the rules that we will be presenting to the city commission. I don't know if it's gonna go second April meeting or possibly first May.
Will you give us a heads up when it's on the,
We ran through the animals.
Yeah, Carl and Enrique
okay.
and Amy will do that.
Yeah, I mean, we could look at the meeting notices, but sometimes you get sick of looking at those.
Right, well,
so-
I'll
Okay,
I'll defer to
Yeah.
your team to do
Yeah,
that, but.
when it makes it to the commissioner, we'll
Right.
let you. guys
Okay.
know.
Because there's certain deadlines for it to make it to agenda, irrespective of
Right.
my work. So that's why I wanna defer
Okay.
to them, but this will be the final draft that will be presented to commission. Of course, it's up to the commission, as you all know,
so
to make the final edits necessary.
hope they listen to us.
Have they reviewed this at all? Is this?
Not
something-
yet.
Okay.
We haven't submitted it to the city commission.
Here's
You
the-
all are giving us a recommendation to present to them. The reason I brought it back is because of my research with the ADA and the statute and
Thank you for doing that.
information.
Couple more business.
Head off in trouble, that might happen down the road with the city commissioner going, did you check this against the ADA and the county code? and all that?"
No, it's smart.
Going on the map.
So, if you all don't have any other edits, we'll go ahead and do that. And again, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Anything
the-
else?
Thank you for that half a tree here too. I just teasing with you.
Next item up is new business. Do we have any new business?
I do have a question. With all the trouble that some of the vacation towns have had lately with spring breakers and on a regular basis, it seems like. Are we ever gonna get to the point where we actually have beach police? Instead of cars just hanging around?
I can attest that there was a ton of.
Yeah,
Well,
police
on
on-
spring break, I understand, but regular, for us, regular everyday citizens that live here, when the spring breakers are gone. It seems like there's stuff that happens on the beach that if there were some,
Police presence.
a beach police, like you see in LA and Miami Beach and
Yep.
and some of the other towns, that it keeps some of the bad stuff from happening.
Yeah, I don't know of any plans
Okay,
of
just
that,
wondering.
I mean. I know as part of just kind of police patrol, there's a certain number. There is a substation at Loop at Los Olos Oceanside Park that police is finally starting to man. And
Okay,
I think with some of their homeless outreach folks to deal with some of the issues that we see there. But
be
yeah,
better for us to live here and also for the tourists would feel a little more.
Yeah.
You know, a little safer.
So sometime last year, there was an event on the beach and they did this wonderful thing. They kind of cordoned off part of the parking lot, I guess the west side of it, with a walking path that walkers can continue on because they, they were doing the setup. Will Tortuga be doing that?
no, the hope, we're working with Bahia Mar and the Marina Village across the street. And the building department as well, to get them a temporary certificate of occupancy for that Marina Village area. So that sidewalk could be open on the west side of A1A. And that'll be a nice wide open sidewalk and they're shooting for TCO any day. But I mean, that's a more of a building department question, but we have expressed that if not, then there will need to be some sort of pedestrian access during Tortuga. If that isn't open. So, but I think every effort's being made to have that open.
Yeah, 'cause that should just be a requirement of all events there.
Yeah.
That makes such a difference that you don't get to the beach and then you have to cross and then you have.
Well, they just happen to be doing the construction at the Marina Village over there. That's like a.
For the last couple of years.
There,
Yeah,
away from what they were doing.
yeah, without crossing the road.
Yeah.
I went to that. You were there, yeah.
I saw the pictures afterwards. Straight missed it.
I can't hear you. What?
I just, I'm optimistic now.
I don't know. I think I got one because of the council.
Okay, I saw it after the fact, just the pictures, but I was surprised,
No, it didn't kind of come to us.
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. It's, if you haven't seen the Iceplex, go see it, because it's really something. I mean,
The what?
the Iceplex, that's the name, Iceplex, and the Baptist Health Iceplex at Holiday
Ice
Park.
skating rink.
It's open now, you can just go in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Weren't we trying to get it?
You can actually.
Yeah, but
I don't know whatever happened to that. It just opened like last week.
Yeah, now you can go.
Yeah.
So we'll have to.
There's two ice rinks, one, I think for the professional hockey players and one for the public.
And free to get in to go. That's good.
It really is nice.
Wait to get approved.
I think we ought to get a curling team together.
Well, there we go. The Olympics are coming.
You don't have to put skates on and break your hip.
There's a new sport called ice.
Oh, no.
Oh, good. This is Florida. It's like shoveling like everybody else.
Still,
Back to Benison Park. I thought it was gonna be, you gonna have something.
So Benison, some of the smaller projects, we're trying to get that qualified vendor list, so we can get, just putting up lights there.
Right.
It should be relatively simple, simple schematic design, we'll put it into permitting, and, we don't need major architectural.
Right.
Overkill. And
Right,
so-
all the lighting vendors have all the,
Yeah.
improved equipment and all that other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fine. If we can get one going, we can pull the trigger on all those small, like if we were to go to the stove, replace, add lighting, upgrade the lighting, so really small things. Walkway improvements, radiator improvements, that.
Can't you piggyback off that somewhere? Oh.
If I make some.
Caleb, you gotta speak up.
Sorry, it's side discussion.
Okay, okay.
Whatever.
All right.
Any other new business? I have one thing left on the agenda.
Yay.
Adjourn.
All right, thank you, people.
All right.